Without much ado, I'd like to begin the session, before which I'd like to have a minute of silence for all the civilians who died in a ghastly terror attack in Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir 2 days ago. May I request everybody present here to stand in silence for all those who sacrificed their lives. Thank you very much. So, as all of you are aware, today's panel discussion is on gender justice. We take pride, India takes pride, the Indian National Congress takes pride in hosting all of you in the state of Telangana. This is 140 years of the Indian National Congress, 75 years of the Indian Constitution. We're also in the 70th year of the first Afro-Asian Bandung Conference, and we take immense pride in hosting this event in the state of Telangana under the leadership of Mr. Revant Reddy ji. Our leader of opposition, Mr. Rahul Gandhi ji, was instrumental in having this program and bringing all of you together under one umbrella in this august state. And today's discussion is an important one on gender justice. We have very, very eminent speakers from across the world. We have Ms. Ann Linde with us today, who is the former Foreign Minister of Sweden, Swedish Social Democratic Party. We have Ms. Monica Fenn, who is the President of the Socialist Party of Argentina. We have Ms. Maria Alejandra Pane, who is the Vice Minister, Minister of Women from Panama. We also have Parnika, who is the MLA from Telangana. We have Mr. Salman Khurshid, former Minister, Government of India, and we have Mr. Pallam Raju, who is the Minister from the state of Telangana. Former Union Minister, I wish. As you all know, gender justice being a very, very important topic, and we as a society, not just in India, but all across the world, have always been, we've always had progressive thinkers, and especially India. Our first Prime Minister, our first woman Prime Minister was Indira Gandhi, and we take absolute pride that she belonged to the Indian National Congress. The Congress Party was instrumental in the reservation, in the local self-government for 50%. Women across party lines benefited from these reservations. We're also trying to get a 33% reservation in the parliament and the state assemblies. Of course, it's a fight, and it's a fight all across the world. I think women have to fight and be resilient all over the world. It is a struggle. Of course, things are changing, but I think it's discussions like these that play a pivotal role in improving the status of women, in making women aware of their rights. These are global leaders who've gathered here in this house, who will obviously have an impactful decision in their respective countries and will unite women across the world in doing better for our countries, for our societies. So without much delay, I'd like the panelists to introduce themselves so that we can understand where they're coming from, what they have done, and how they've been instrumental in issues of gender justice in their respective countries. And we'd like to start with you, if you can give us a brief introduction. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, my name is Ann Linde, and I am very proud to have been a foreign minister in a government that was proclaimed a feminist government in 2014. And as that, we also have the first country in the world to have the feminist foreign policy. I was also Minister of Trade before, and we had a feminist trade policy. And maybe later I can tell you something about what that is. I was International Secretary of my party, the Social Democratic Party of Sweden, for 13 years. And of course, our party is very much when it comes to feminism and equality. And thanks God, from my party came the first prime minister that was a woman, Magdalena Andersson, and it was a proud moment for all of us, even it was too late, later than India. And finally, together with Macris, the coordinator of Progressive Alliance, who sits there, the two of us are co-chairing the Feminist Foreign Policy Progressive Voices Collective in the name of FEPS. So that's me.
Thank you, Anne. Monica, can you please introduce?
Voy a hablar en español. Excuse me. Mi nombre es Mónica Fein, soy presidenta del Partido Socialista de Argentina.
Sorry, I need to interrupt. Do we have a translator?
Yes. Soy presidenta del Partido Socialista de Argentina, un partido de más de 120 años. Por primera vez tienen una mujer presidenta que me toca representar ese lugar. Después de 120 años, las mujeres presidimos un partido político socialista en Argentina. Fui alcaldesa de la segunda ciudad de Argentina y soy congresista federal, activista del feminismo y luchadora por siempre por la igualdad.
Thank you, Monica. Maria, can we have a few words from you, please?
My name is Undram Chimbat. I'm from Mongolia. I was elected for the second time as Member of Parliament in 2024, and now I chair the Standing Committee for Education, Science, Culture and Sports in our Parliament. When I was working as a parliament member last time, we had only 17% parliament members as women. So we have made some changes in our election law. We increased the women quota into 30%. And when we have party listing, we put each gender one versus one. So because of that, this time the new parliament has 25% women, and for the first time in our history we have 32 female parliament members out of 126, and it's a maximum in our Southeast Asia, so we are very proud of that. And also recently I was elected as the regional party leader, so it's
wow.
It's a third female regional leader, female leader in our country, in our party. So very happy to be here discussing about, gender policy. And also in Mongolia, we also have female foreign affairs minister. She was also elected this 2024 and continuing her post as a foreign affairs minister. Thank you.
Thank you, Andram. Thank you very much. Parnika, can we get you to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, very warm good morning to everybody and all the esteemed guests out here on the panel, and also the esteemed delegates from all over the world. Firstly, I would like to welcome all of you to the state of Telangana, the new formed state. So welcome to all of you. We are looking here first time as a youngster. I have entered into politics this time, and I have been elected last year as a member of the Legislative Assembly. By profession, I'm a doctor. So from doctor to politics, change of turns, change of events. So I'm here today. Back in my constituency, I'm the first lady member of the Legislative Assembly. So I'm very proud to be saying that. And also, a constituency which is the most rural part of Telangana. We are aiming at mainly focusing on girl-child development there, because girls have not come out and very open back there in my constituency. And as Telangana, as our government is focusing on women empowerment in various aspects, which we'll be talking about in coming time. So thank you. I'm very honored and blessed to be here among all these experienced panelists here. So I take it as an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Parnika. We've also got Maria, who is joining us on video conference. Maria, hi. Morning. Can we get you to introduce yourself, please? Thank you.
¿Qué tal? Buenos días. Mucho gusto. Un placer poder compartir con ustedes esta mañana. Me encuentro en Panamá. Les pido de antemano una disculpa por no acompañarlos el día de hoy. Yo soy María Alejandra Panay, tengo 27 años. Me tocó la responsabilidad histórica no solamente de representar a mi partido en el Ministerio de la Mujer, siendo la primera viceministra de este tan importante movimiento y este mecanismo que nos permite a nosotros como jóvenes entender la responsabilidad histórica de todas las generaciones que estuvieron antes y que nos permiten a nosotras estar el día de hoy aquí representándolas. Además, soy vicepresidenta mundial de la Internacional Socialista Joven y es para mí un honor compartir este panel esta mañana, para mí esta noche, con tan distinguido panel y poder compartir entre todas un poco de nuestras experiencias. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Maria. May I ask Mr. Khurshid to give his comments, please?
Well, thank you very much. As you can see, one would have to be making an appeal for equitable share of resources between the ladies and ourselves. I must tell you some interesting things are happening in this country. I've had something to do with education, and we now find in the schools of our country, the majority of good teachers, and indeed majority of teachers are women. It suits them well because they are able to bring the responsibilities of bringing up children along with bringing up children of other parents. And so the best teachers now, the best teachers in schools and the largest number of teachers in schools are women. And this is a transformation that has happened in the last 10, 15 years, a remarkable transformation that has happened. And so now every time you think of a movie like To Serve with Love, it now has to change to Madam with Love, because the transformation has been happening. Now, in our lifetime, my friend Pallam and I were in government together, but in our lifetime, we have seen a remarkable change of how women have participated in every walk of life. It started with Kiran Bedi, the first police officer who was called Crane Bedi for having taken away from the roads some
encroachment.
A car that was parked, which happened to be the Prime Minister's car. And she didn't think twice, but she said, take it away, Prime Minister or anybody else, no cars on the road, etc., parked in the wrong place. From there to now, where a remarkable number of ladies are serving in the police. And we thought at one point of time that it would be impossible to think in the fighting arms of the military that the women would ever get there. They would only be doctors in the medical corps, etc. But now even fighter pilots, top fighter pilots of the Air Force are women. 6 or 7 of them have already got their honors and they've got their wings. Similarly, there isn't a field in which women aren't really moving forward. And of course, we've made in our local politics, in municipal politics, we have made space for women. And the first people against it used to say, these women will only be there in name. But we now see remarkably how they have performed and how they have transformed the very face of municipal politics. So we're all for women, whatever we can do. But when you become dominant and when you become equal and more than equal, please give a thought to us that we made the way. We gave the way to you because we believed you deserved and you are entitled, and therefore beyond empowerment to greater success is something what we pray for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Khurshid. Mr. Pallam Raju.
Thank you, and again, welcome to all of you. And I'm grateful that I qualified to be sitting on this panel as one of the empathetic men. Looking back at history, I think this part of the world had women prime ministers, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, Mrs. Srimati Bandaru Naike from Sri Lanka, and at the same time, I think we had Golda Meir in Israel. So I think women leadership has been there, and I think they have been very, very effective leaders. I also happened to be living in Norway when Gro Harlem Brundtland was the Prime Minister of Norway. So we have eminent leaders, and as far as India is concerned, I think there's been a big change. Salman Bhai has just mentioned how women getting into combat roles in the armed forces. We have some very eminent officers here from Telangana who made very far-reaching changes here. And to give the credit to the Indian National Congress, when the late Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, he brought in the Panchayati Raj reservations, where in local bodies, it gave the women 33% reservation. So in 33% of the local body elections, women had to contest. And that is how we could bring in women into the mainstream of politics. And I think they're playing an increasing role in that. The Indian National Congress remains committed to bringing in 33% into our legislative bodies, into parliament. And I think that would make a lot of change. However, if you look at the ground realities, you're all aware of the atrocities that are happening on the ground. So I think more than the women's role in governance, I think there has to be an equal emphasis on building up that empathy to men towards, gender sensitivity, and also treating women like we say Ma Durga. We look at all women in society as goddesses, but in reality something else is happening. I think that is where the sensitivity towards men has to be improved. We couldn't have a better chairman to chair this panel.
A moderator.
A moderator. Pariniti is a person who's come up from the grassroots. She's worked very closely at social work. She's been a legislative, she's been in legislation for 3 terms, and now she's in parliament, and she's one of our future leaders.
We really need men to be more emphatic towards women's issues, which is why we wanted Mr. Khurshid and you to be a part of this discussion. Because as you know, whenever we raise any issue in parliament or in the legislative assemblies about women, it's always the women who are a part of the discussions, never men. And I think the day men start participating in discussions on women, that's when change will happen worldwide. And maybe today is a start to that change, because we have 2 men on this stage as a part of a discussion on gender justice. I'd like to get into the questions straight up, and I'd like to ask you, what according to you would be the most urgent gender justice issues that you are seeing under the current global context today? And do you think we're blind to these issues and we need to be more mindful about the state of women and gender rights at present across countries?
Well, thank you very much. And I think it's very important what we have started here to say, that also men has to take, is something happening? Men also has to take part of those discussions. And I would like to start with just first to say, why is gender equality important for all, not just women? Why is it so important to have benefits for all, not just for women? And all you women here who are in the gender network, you know this, but most men, they don't know it.
Yep.
So just let me say a few words of that. Because it's very clear that if you have equality, you get more stronger and inclusive society. There is a social stability, there is more resilience, and when women are empowered to play key roles in conflict resolution, community building, and conflict management, you see that countries with greater gender equality are more likely to resolve conflicts without using military means or using violence. And not the least here now, I think that's a very, very important question. And also conversely, countries who has more significant gender gaps are more likely to be involved in inter- and intrastate conflicts. We can also see that women are chronically underrepresented in key forums where disarmament discussions are, where non-proliferations are made. And even though we have very, very clear research showing that if you make peace agreements, which is needed, not the least in this area, there is at least 2 years longer, 20% longer, if you have women in the peace talks. Now, unfortunately, when you see around the world, there are nearly no women in the peace talks. There are in a few areas. There has been like in Colombia. But otherwise, in all the main UN peace talks going on, there is no women at all. So that is very important. Another issue is, of course, the less corruption and better governance. Because we can find, and there is a new report about this that is presented, that when women participate in decision making on all levels, in the government level, the good governance improves. If you have a higher female representation, then you see that there is a lower level of corruption. You can discuss why it is so, but that's very clear. And you also get the democratic institutions stronger. Women often have different perspectives when they are in the decisive arenas, and they prioritize social welfare, education, and health in another way than men are doing. So the economic growth and prosperity are actually growing if you have a greater number of women in the decisive areas. You can also see, and I think it's interesting when Mr. Salman Khoury said that now you have so many women teachers, because it's shown that the economic prosperity is growing if you use also women. Because if you only have women as housewives or trad wives, as we say in EU now, you are not utilizing the economic possibility that the country has. So you get a lower prosperity and you get a lower way of economic welfare. Actually, the World Economic Forum estimates that closing the gender gap in the workforce could add trillions to the global GDP. So this is something for government to think of. If nothing else, think of economy. It's also important to see that in innovation and sustainability, and not the least a country like India, where innovation is so important, when you put women in the groups of the innovation team, there is another way of creativity and leadership styles that drive innovation. So it's in sectors like technology, climate change, policy making. Including women actually lead to more comprehensive solutions, and that address the global challenges more effectively. So I will just make the case for men and women to close the gender gap more recently. And then I would like to come back to the problems later, because this was the positive beginning. Thank you.
And you made a very important point, and you said that higher the level of participation of women in politics, the lesser is the corruption in that country, which I thought was a very important point. Monica, I'd like to ask you, can you share concrete policy responses or actionable reforms that can impact on closing the gender gaps across different contexts? How do you think these policies can be sustainable and resilient, given the troubling trend of feminist backlash all over? Thank you.
Bueno, muchas gracias. Gracias al Partido del Congreso, a la Alianza Progresista, a Macris, que es mujer, nuestra coordinadora. Vengo de un país, Argentina, que gracias a la organización de las mujeres, junto con los movimientos sociales y políticos, en los últimos 20 años hemos conquistado los mejores avances en la igualdad. una justicia que veníamos reclamando, políticas que permitieron desde la escuela primaria tener una educación sexual integral, donde hablemos de la igualdad de varones y mujeres, políticas de paridad. Hoy en Argentina somos pares, mujeres y varones en el Congreso Nacional donde represento y en todas las federaciones. En Argentina promovimos las leyes integrales de protección contra la violencia de género, con políticas activas para proteger y acompañar a las mujeres víctimas de violencia de género. Fuimos pioneros en el matrimonio igualitario, en el matrimonio que permite unirse más allá de su condición de género, con todos los derechos y garantías en igualdad. Fuimos pioneros en la identidad de género, definir por la percepción de cada uno a qué género pertenece. Eso hicimos por ley en Argentina. Constituimos una ley fundamental, la ley Micaela, que significó que todos los funcionarios públicos deben estar formados en la actitud de igualar varones y mujeres y en el respeto a la diversidad en todos los lugares del Estado. Y también en la interrupción voluntaria del embarazo sin causales. Todo esto logramos en 20 años de lucha de las mujeres, de los movimientos feministas, de los movimientos de la diversidad y de los partidos progresistas. Pero llegó la ultraderecha argentina, un laboratorio para el retroceso de las políticas económicas, sociales y obviamente políticas. El gobierno de Argentina de extrema derecha niega la desigualdad entre varones y mujeres, quiere cambiar la legislación existente, niega la violencia que ejercen los varones por una cuestión de poder ante las mujeres y quiere retirar de la ley penal la figura del femicidio. Quiere modificar la ley de interrupción del embarazo. Quiere decir que en los lugares de trabajo ganamos igual a pesar de tener profundas diferencias y que el cuidado de los niños, niñas y adultos mayores no recae fundamentalmente sobre las mujeres. Este retroceso político de un gobierno de ultraderecha ha significado un debate profundo para los partidos progresistas. Por eso es tan importante estar aquí. Por eso necesitamos las voces progresistas para decir que no se puede volver atrás, que es necesario fortalecer las políticas de igualdad, que la justicia debe identificar las diferencias que todavía tenemos, ya que en mi país más del 50% de la pobreza está unida a mujeres, niños y niñas. Por lo tanto, hay una gran tarea que hacer en la organización de las mujeres, en el fortalecimiento de los partidos progresistas y en la red del progresismo del mundo. Nuestro presidente va a distintos países a recibir el reconocimiento de los movimientos de ultraderecha que se están extendiendo en todo el mundo para decir que no es necesario el Estado, que no es necesario tener políticas públicas de igualdad, que no es necesario el reconocimiento de las mujeres en igualdad de condiciones. Lo nuestro es continuar con la lucha, la resistencia, tomar el ejemplo de todos los países del mundo, de los movimientos progresistas que luchan por esa igualdad y decir ni un paso atrás. Seguiremos en nuestra lucha por la igualdad, impidiendo que estos sectores de ultraderecha que vienen a negar los derechos conquistados nos obliguen a proceder y convencidas que será junto a varones y mujeres que quieran una sociedad con más igualdad, con más fraternidad, con más solidaridad, donde construiremos un lugar donde todos y todas podamos estar incluidos.
Thank you, Monica. Very well put. I think India and Argentina are currently facing the same problems with right-wing fascist governments who are very regressive in their thinking, especially towards the treatment meted out to women. And as progressive parties, whether it's the Socialist Party of Argentina or the Indian National Congress, we have huge responsibilities to make sure that we release the country from the glitches of these ideologies and these governments. Thank you, Monica. Coming to Undram. Undram, I'd like to ask you to share a few measures for parties, state governments and federal governments, based on your experience, that you think use the feminist lens to address other intersecting issues or sectors like that of the economy, security, climate, or even democracy.
Well, based on my experience, I mean, I don't have very long political experience. Before entering politics in 2020, I used to be a professor of economics at the National University of Mongolia. And at that time, our party, Mongolian People's Party, they wanted to include more women with education into politics. So that's where I got a chance and entered in politics. So for us, number one objective was to have feminine policy for the past 5 years. So that's why we had a discussion with our party leader and appointed female foreign affairs minister. And also we wanted to increase the women representatives in the parliament. That's why we made some change in our constitution and election law. And also our next step is to increase the representative in the regional, local level politics. For us, the reason why we want more female representative is that for any country, budget is one of the most important laws that we decide, right? So when we have more female representatives, the budget is more, how you say, gender responsive budgeting. We try to allocate more money for our children, for education, health sector, and we try to help empower the women to get into small and medium businesses. Starting from the budget and all the decisions that we make are more towards women and children and their education and health and good living. And in the last parliament, we updated the law on domestic violence. It hasn't been, touched for so long, and in our country, and in the beginning of this discussion, you asked about urgent gender issues. So I think one of the most urgent issues that we're facing in the world is gender-based violence, such as domestic violence and sexual harassment. Almost every country, women and children are facing these kind of violences. So we updated domestic violence law, and also we're working on enforcing and making people responsible for it. And due to that, the domestic violence is decreasing in our country. So the reason why we want more women in power is that these women most of them know what we face growing up and in our societies. So we try to fix these problems for our next generation, girls and women. Another thing I wanted to talk here is that economic inequality is also, our fellow participants are also saying it's facing in the world. So especially in this era where we have Industrial Revolution number 4, a lot of STEM jobs are entering the workforce, and these are the most highest paying jobs, but so many women are being left behind from STEM education. So maybe in the future, in 5-10 years, the highest paying jobs will be only for men, and women, they will lose their jobs because of technological advancement. And also global warming is affecting more women's jobs. So we have to concentrate on education, but only not education, especially on STEM fields, so our girls in the future can have high-paying jobs, and also these technological advances, they can be also very gender neutral, because some of the AI tools, they don't know about girls or women's problems. When you ask ChatGPT about girls' problems, they don't understand because they're made by men, so men, they don't know our problems. That's why also it's very important. And another thing I wanted to also discuss is urban and rural situation is also different in each country. I was also elected from a very rural area 2 times, and girls and women problems in urban areas, they're very much, better, so much better than women in rural areas. So whenever we make policy, we also have to think about the location where they're living and what kind of problems they're facing. Thank you.
Thank you, Undram. Some very important issues that you raised, especially domestic violence across countries, and women are victimized. In our country, and I think across the globe, a lot of times domestic violence, cases of domestic violence don't get reported. In spite of very strict laws, women are very scared to report them to the police. So if unitedly we could work towards that. But very important rural and urban problems and faced by women, also a very important issue in India. Parnika, I'd like to ask you, since you are, the government is in power in Telangana, the Congress government, what coordinated strategies can resist the global backlash against gender justice and reclaim feminist political space, according to you?
It's a very debatable thing here. So we are talking about gender justice. We have the most eminent men here on the panel too. And today when we are talking about how Telangana state, as a state, we are going forward, I would like to emphasize on a few things here, especially from the leadership of our Chief Minister, Revanth Reddy ji. So here in Telangana, we are mainly focusing on the rural women here, and how we can just pull them out from whatever problems or issues, as rightly said, the domestic violence or any such things. So how can all this be done is purely by empowering them, by educating them, and how we go about it. So here in Telangana state, we have this mission, especially the Indra Mahila Shakti mission, which we are carrying forward and taking it forward for the self-help groups, which was ideally started during Indira Gandhi ji's regime. So here our focus is on mainly making 1 million women as millionaires here. So this is a primary motto which we are taking forward. And in this, we have about 4.3 lakh SHG groups, the self-help groups in Telangana, and it is the second highest in the country here. And during talking about these self-help groups, we are focusing mainly on how to promote them, not only by just giving them education or anything. We are focusing on how to self-empower themselves, becoming new entrepreneurs. Like we started a petrol bunk. It is completely run by the self-help groups, and I'm very happy to say this, that we started here in my constituency in Narayanpet, and it is purely run by the self-help groups, and it's the first in the state and the first in the country too. So such changes mainly we are focusing on, and also the solar energy, the new energy which electricity, we know the burden of electricity we are all facing. So how to go green, solar energy units are also being given to the self-help groups. And we have an Indra Mahila Shakti Bazaar, which is here in Hyderabad, where whatever the small items or small things where the rural women make sitting at home, we project them in that bazaar, giving them an opportunity to express themselves in front of everybody who comes out there. And also politically talking about how women have, we are going forward. We have already spoke about the reservation and all that. We still have to progress forward. It's still we are progressing, we still have to progress more. And rightly said by Pranti Didi, we are just taking step by step. But in this process, we need the help of the men also to go forward in whatever we are aspiring. And few more things about safety here, about women. We are talking about domestic violence. In Telangana, we have our special SHE teams working specially for the women. And also security, like in case of any unforeseen incidents, we have homes for them. We have homes which will help them. Like Saki centers have been established in the rural areas also, where the people, the women are kept, they are counseled, or they are given everything, the bed, food, whatever needs of the women there. Okay. Mainly for people like who cannot afford during their lactation and pregnancy time also. We are supporting them too as a government. So we have taken immense policies. We are talking about policy reforms. We are coming more forward with those policy reforms. And so we are talking about whatever women focused politically, socially, economically, hoping to see a brighter future for the world to come.
Thank you, Parnika, and for your comments. Maria, since you're the Vice Minister in your government as Ministry in Ministry of Women, I'd like to ask you, how do you think we can institutionalize intersectional feminist leadership and representation across political and social systems in your view?
Muchas gracias. La historia nos ha demostrado que los avances en derechos no son lineales ni garantizados. Por eso es tan urgente fortalecer la solidaridad feminista a nivel transnacional. Eso significa tender puentes, construir agendas comunes y levantar nuestras voces juntas, sin importar fronteras. Este es un tema cual todos debemos incorporar, utilizando estos foros a través de las organizaciones progresistas, medios de comunicación y redes sociales, para ir calando en la sociedad la cultura de la igualdad y la solidaridad entre los pueblos. Pero para que eso sea solidaridad, sea real, tiene que ser interseccional. No podemos seguir hablando de mujeres en abstracto. Debemos hablar de mujeres que son racializadas, empobrecidas, perseguidas por su identidad o su orientación. Debemos preguntarnos siempre, ¿quiénes están faltando en esta mesa? ¿Quiénes no tienen acceso a estos espacios? Integrar la interseccionalidad en la práctica significa también escuchar, redistribuir el poder y transformar nuestras propias formas de hacer política. Es nuestra responsabilidad impulsarlo y para ello debemos trazar planes y programas con objetivos concretos y medibles en el tiempo que nos permiten generar los espacios para intercambiar experiencias y lograr la colaboración entre todas y todos. La unidad es fundamental, por lo cual debemos construir un discurso y una metodología congruente con los objetivos. A mi parecer, la interseccionalidad debe ser entre todos los sectores marginados, sin ningún distingo. En la medida en que la solidaridad sea de la base del pueblo, con conciencia progresista, no existe espacio para ningún tipo de marginación. Mi experiencia en la comunidad, en las comunidades más humildes en mi país, demuestran una intrínseca solidaridad entre todos los miembros de la misma. La participación por igual sin distingo. Si logramos que esto sea como la espuma y que siga creciendo hacia las instancias de poder, se puede lograr muchos cambios en la política y en las acciones concretas que se toman en todos los niveles. Gracias.
Thank you, Maria. As you can see, all the women in their own right are fighting in their own countries to give women a voice, and that's happening across the globe. Sir, I would, since I know better than you to answer this question actually, and I think it's aptly framed for you. How do you think progressive parties can turn gender equality from a constitutional commitment into a structural transformation? And I ask this question to both of you. Sir, I'd like to start with you.
I had mentioned about how during Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi's time, we ensured there was 33% reservation for elected local bodies. And that was a great beginning. And to add to some of the points that the Honorable MLA has said, I think it is important to put money into women's hands. There's nothing speaks better than money. And from that point of view, I think it has been an initiative of the Congress governments where the self-help groups, where women pool together and bring a certain amount of money to the table, and the government gives an equivalent amount of money, and they go about and do a business project. It's another form of microfinance. And it's been a very successful model. And the best part is, it is given as a loan, what the government gives, and the repayment loan by the women has been one of the highest. It's over 95%, 96, 97%. So it's been a very successful model in empowering women. And I think two other things that we did in the past is the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, which ensured that in the rural areas, there is a certain amount of work that happens, which is created, that benefits the village. And there's been substantial progress by women. Rural spending actually went up because of the money that was coming into their pockets. And the other thing that we had done was the Right to Education Act, which ensured that women get educated. Children get educated all across the country, and it is free until the, grade 8. Now that has actually ensured that the girls in every, because usually what was happening in the rural areas was the girls were always dropping out of school. But this ensured that the girls also had to study. And I think that's been a big change. As a result, like Salman Bhai had mentioned, we have a lot of women teachers also that, who are making a change. And the Indian National Congress has always believed that you can educate a man in the family, but if you educate a woman in the family, the whole family gets educated. So I think it is these things that we have to push. And, we have the chair sitting amongst us. She has been talking about a number of schemes, including the Mahalakshmi scheme that is happening in Telangana, where women are given mobility. This is happening in Karnataka also, where women have free access to the bus. They can go anywhere. See, I think mobility is one thing very, very important. And, that has been a big success in Telangana state. So these are some of the examples that I can quote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Raju. Sir, Khurshid, sir, constitutional commitment into a structural transformation.
There's what do I call it, a disruptive idea. Our constitution is, I'm sure everyone is aware, provides special dispensation for women. Reservations can be provided for women, specially. And that's gone a long way. But the challenge today in the changing face of the economy is that the state-controlled economy now is dissipating into market economy. There are opinions on both sides, but the fact remains is that the ground reality has shifted towards private sector. A lot of investment that's coming, including investment coming in Telangana, will be coming into private sector, and state sector investment is falling back a little bit. So what do we do? There are demands for reservations that are available in the state sector to be brought about in the private sector as well. And the opposite view is that if you're talking about reservations, be it for one category or another category, but there will be reluctance to invest in this country. The answer really lies, and I hope that some of you would respond to this. The answer lies in creating fiscal policies where special fiscal advantages can be given to industry or business that employs women largely. I mean, it's quite possible that you would say that in this particular sector, women would be good, and therefore, in this sector, if you have 100% women employment, your taxes would come down by 50%. And I'm sure that that would be neither susceptible to a complaint about doing something forceful to somebody who wants to take independent decisions, and at the same time will be extremely welcome. It'll give opportunity to women, it will give opportunity to industry, because industry is just interested in making two ends meet or making a successful business. So I think in many areas, in many sectors, women could get a major move ahead in terms of our constitutional commitment by giving fiscal advantages to that industry, which will employ women. And it could be staggered. It could be in some industry up to 50%, in some industry to 70%, and in some industry even 100%. Absolutely no reason why that can't be done. The second point that I would want you all to consider is there is a lot of new industrial and business activity that is happening, where I am not quite sure that the manner in which it's happening is facilitating women from coming in. Now, I do know that construction, small-scale construction business, women are employed. There was always a problem that would they get the same wages as men get? And there have been legislation to try and address that. But please look at the large-scale road development that's happening in the country. The major roads that are being built, a lot of mechanized methodology is being used for building of those roads. I don't see many women working on these highways. So what you need to do, and I believe in other democracies in the United States of America, in the steel industry, for instance, women are brought in. In Argentina, I'm sure women work in some of these industries. They are very powerful voices. But what is it that we can do in those countries where there is new investment coming, new industry, new businesses coming, but presently it looks as though it cannot and does not facilitate women from joining. Now, the sort of equipment, the sort of training that you need to participate in big industry, in heavy industry, I think is a major matter that you need to consider. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think to guarantee a safe environment of where they are working, I think would be a big step in making sure that women are a part of the heavy investments that are happening in the country. Just recently we were in Kochi and there was a Passport Seva Kendra which was run by only women, and they called it the Pink Passport Seva Kendra because there were only women employed in that. And I think Telangana government can take a very, very huge step in what Mr. Khurshid said, that fiscal incentives for industries that employ women. So maybe we can take a cue, and across the globe, I think we can start by telling our governments to start employing women and then in turn give them fiscal incentives, which I would think is would be a big step in achieving gender justice, and gender budgeting being a very important, playing a very important role while implementing the ideas that Mr. Khurshid just expressed. Very quickly, because we're tight for time, I would like the speakers to just list out 3 big, huge challenges that they think their country is facing vis-a-vis women today. Just 3 big challenges that your country is facing, the women in your country are facing, that you think are the 3 biggest challenges that the women in your country are facing, or your country is facing vis-a-vis women. 3 big challenges.
Well, thank you very much. I think one challenge is to implement the reforms that we are trying to do. And I really liked what Mr. Kosher said about going into labor and justice rights, because it's these issues, we need big reforms. We started with reforms, for example, individual taxation, not family taxation. Because if you have family taxation and a woman wants to go to work and you have progressive taxation, you put her salary on top of the man's salary and then it's no use. So you need to have the individual taxation and that needs to be implemented full scale. The second thing that is a challenge for my country is that there has been a dramatic drop in, women wanting to have babies. Now we are much lower than we need just to keep up the numbers. And I think what we have to do is to make it more easy for women and men to be home, to take care of the family and to be at work having a family. Because this is one of the challenges that we talk in Sweden, and I know in many other countries as well. How do we get young men and women to want to have children? And if they cannot combine family life with working life, then it's difficult. So you need to have parental leave, you need to have universal childcare, you need to have affordable childcare, all of this to make young people today want to have children. And the final thing, I think it's very important that we don't accept the backlash of feminism. You can see it very clearly in my part of the world, the European Parliament, where for the first time since it started, there were not more women elected to the European Parliament than before. Every year before, every 5 years there's an election, there has been more and more women. For the first time ever, less women. And this is also a question of, we don't want to speak about this anymore because it's not fashionable. And I think we need to stand tall when it comes to saying feminism is human rights are human rights are womenized, and we should not be ashamed of talking about feminism.
Yeah.
We should stand up for it, and this is a challenge, not only for my country, but I think worldwide now, unfortunately.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Just flag 2 points.
The mic is...
May I just flag 2 points, just in case anyone wants to respond? I don't have the answers to this, but the two points are what are our attitudes towards surrogacy parenting? There are laws now in India that makes or facilitates a bit of it, but do we have any views on that? And the other point is that there is a major debate in the world about genders, I mean, particularly in the United States of America, etc. Other genders beyond the two genders that we are conventionally associated with. Does that have an impact in any way on our conventional genders, etc.? Just 2 points I thought I'd flag.
Yeah. Monica, would you like to answer that? Would you like to take that question? Should I say it?
Creo que los desafíos que tenemos las mujeres en nuestros países es liderar los procesos políticos. No queremos acompañar, queremos liderar junto a los hombres los procesos de transformación social. Queremos ser líderes para definir el futuro de nuestros países y el futuro de la humanidad. Queremos tener igualdad de condiciones en nuestros trabajos, igualdad salarial e igualdad de posibilidades de ascenso social. Necesitamos tener un sistema de cuidados de nuestros niños, niñas y adultos que no nos ponga en la doble situación de trabajo privado y de trabajo público, y necesitamos igualdad para los colectivos de la diversidad sexual. Queremos una sociedad donde todos y todas podamos ser iguales, y hoy todavía en muchos países está penalizada la diversidad sexual, y en mi país, mi presidente dice que aquellas, lo dijo en Davos, que aquellas personas que pertenecen al colectivo de la diversidad sexual son aquellos que abusan de menores. No debemos permitir esa discriminación como progresistas del mundo. La integración, la igualdad y los liderazgos compartidos es el futuro de una sociedad donde la democracia real vaya unida a la democracia donde todos, las mujeres, los varones, las diversidades podamos estar representadas.
Thank you, Monica. I think you very well addressed the compounded marginalization of women, girls, and LGBTQ communities that is happening across the world, and that I think rightly that was the question that Mr. Khurshid was asking. Undram, if you could just mention the 3 challenges that your country is facing vis-a-vis women and the marginalization of these communities.
Well, previously I probably talked about all the problems we're facing.
How do you think we
the
can
biggest
address
problem, I think first one is economic inequality of women, especially in this world where technology is advancing so fast. So maybe in a few years, a lot of women can't have a job in this technological advanced field. So for us, right now, what we're doing, it's not going to solve all our problems, but right now, first of all, we are giving small and medium business loans to women. There's only designated gender-based loan that we're having, just like Indian case. And also, we are promoting girls to study in STEM education when they're in university. We have like gender-based designated scholarship for women, so in the future they can have a better job. The second thing we're facing is climate situation. Mongolia, we have a lot of herders in the rural area. Main job is in agricultural sector, and because of desertification, a lot of women are losing their jobs. So now we are working on educating women on how to, have their farms in this kind of climate change, what to do. We are teaching them not to increase too much their livestock, but get the maximum amount of, income from a certain amount of farm livestock. So that kind of education is being given a lot, and we are organizing COP, International COP conference next year in Mongolia. So a lot of gender-based policy on climate change are going to be introduced to the world in that conference. And of course, in every country, gender-based domestic violence and sexual harassment is also a big problem, especially in the rural area. Thank you.
Thank you, Undram. Parnika, what do you think are the 3 biggest challenges that we as women face in our country today?
In our country, the challenge is only acceptance. So I think once everybody starts to accept that we are equal, then there's no nation like India that would progress in the future. And in this moment, I would like to, as you spoke about the LGBT community, we in the Telangana government, we have took an initiative in posting transgenders as traffic assistants.
Wow.
And also we have set up special Maitri clinics in every district hospital for especially transgenders. So this is also an initiative I would like to mention on this point. And also, we just keep talking is what I see. Because as we, new generation, we want a factor that tells us this is done. We are in that zone where we are in a fast-moving country. So we are, instead of just talking, and we should just provide support, and we should implement on all these issues. And also, we are talking about the women who, in our country, run our homes. Mm-hmm. Why can't they run the country, or why can't they,
of course they can.
They be there, out there, and like women like us
The
here,
women
we are
on this
standing
stage.
here is something, an example, we are leading as an example. And also, I would like to just mention this one quote, says, feminism isn't about making women stronger. Women are already strong enough, and it's about the way the world perceives their strength. So it has to go both ways for now, and hopefully in our near future, our country is also going to reach there. Thank you, thank you.
I think it has already, and the fact that we're doing this, the first such a huge global summit on gender justice and various other issues is not just talking, but it's also actions, and definitely actions speak louder than words, and we can see that unfolding in front of our eyes today. Maria, what do you think are the 3 biggest challenges that your country is facing, or you are facing as a minister when it comes to implementing policies related to women?
Gracias nuevamente por la oportunidad de compartir con ustedes esta mañana. Quiero alzar mi voz en esta oportunidad no solamente por todas las mujeres de Panamá, sino por todas las mujeres de Latinoamérica, que a pesar de la diversidad que encontramos en este bello continente, lastimosamente seguimos compartiendo algunas problemáticas en todos nuestros países. Hoy más que nunca enfrentamos una alarmante intensificación de la violencia hacia las mujeres, donde 1 de cada 3 ha sido víctima de violencia física o sexual. Esto se ha extrapolado no solamente a los espacios tradicionales, sino también en el entorno digital, donde los discursos de odio se multiplican con total impunidad. A esto se suman los retrocesos en la materia de derechos, en contextos de crisis políticas, económicas, donde las agendas feministas son las primeras en ser silenciadas. Pero también quiero aprovechar y subrayar que muchas veces, al hablar de género, dejamos fuera quienes no siempre están en el centro del discurso. Podemos mencionar las niñas, jóvenes, mujeres indígenas, afrodescendientes, rurales, con discapacidad, migrantes y refugiados. Hay realidades que se están quedando fuera del radar, y si no las vemos y si no las escuchamos, seguiremos reproduciendo las mismas. Quiero hablarles un poquito, sumamente rápido, de un poquito de la situación que vivimos en América Latina. Las desigualdades siguen siendo la participación del mercado laboral, donde una mujer gana entre 17% y 25% menos que los hombres haciendo el mismo trabajo. En América Latina, las mujeres, con el tema de la ley de cuidados no remunerados, triplica la cantidad del tiempo en las tareas del hogar. Según la CEPAL, según los informes del 2022, a pesar de que, como decía Undram, las carreras STEAM son competencia en el mercado y en América Latina logramos tener la mayor cantidad de científicas, aproximadamente el 44.4% de las mujeres, aún así tenemos una brecha digital que lastimosamente no llega a todos los sectores, y hay muchos países de Latinoamérica que en las mismas capitales todavía no cuentan con los accesos al Internet, a las tecnologías que le permitan no solamente ser competitivas para ellas, sino también apoyar a los países. Es sumamente importante hacer estas inversiones. Frente a los retrocesos y ataques al feminismo, nuestra mejor defensa es la organización, la educación y la articulación entre generaciones. Muchas gracias y buenas tardes.
Thank you, Maria. Same problem, different country. I think all of us, as women, we need to identify as a homogeneous group. And I think it's these discussions that are facilitating that. And it's literally the same problems that it's so interesting when we hear you talk. It's exactly the same problems that women face everywhere. And like Parnika said, it's time we start acting upon it and we start doing something about it. And I think this will only happen when the men in the country decide to do something about it. And hopefully we'll fight, our voices will be heard. We will keep fighting for it. It's been happening for generations. And I see the struggle that the women went through 50 years ago for us, which is why we are able to be here on this platform and voice our opinions. So maybe the struggle that we are going through now, when we voice our concerns about women, when we fight for the women, we may not see immediate effects, but maybe 20 years down the line, 50 years down the line, our daughters, our children will benefit from what is happening. And therefore, I feel don't lose confidence. These are small steps. The progress is very slow, but I'm sure it will have an impact globally, what we're doing. So have confidence. Like in India, they say, "Umeed pe dunya kayam hoti hai." Always have hope. So I guess none of your efforts are going to be futile. They will pay off, and the future generations will benefit from every small step that every woman in this room will take. Sir, Mr. Raju and Mr. Khurshid, 3 biggest challenges that you think our country is facing from a man's perspective vis-a-vis women. Very briefly, because then we're opening the floor to the audience.
Yeah.
We're just...
I think we have to accept the reality that gender discrimination and atrocities against women is
sorry I'm interrupting you. You were Minister for Information and Technology.
No, I was Minister of State for Defense
She
and then
she
Education.
spoke about AI being biased towards men.
No, I was going to address
So
that
I'd like
also.
to...
I was going to address that also. So
Maybe we don't need to depend on artificial intelligence. We have a woman's sixth sense.
Yeah.
And, there's nothing artificial about a woman. So maybe that's why it doesn't sort of talk about women as much.
So anyway, I was going to say that gender discrimination and atrocities against women in India is a reality. And it's more so in the rural areas. So I think the most important thing is to ensure that whatever laws are there to protect women are adequately implemented. There is high sensitivity built to the points of contact where women go to complain. Let's say they're harassed. They go to a police station. Today, I think women shudder to go to a police station.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that has to change. I think that is the biggest thing that we have to bring about. And but again, now given India's demographic profile today, where 65% of the population is under 35, I think things are changing. I think there's greater understanding of women, and I think that is what we have to encourage. Now, coming to the point flagged by the Honorable MP from Mongolia about, artificial intelligence programs, the large language model that you build is the basis on which AI responds to queries. And I think in building the large language models, I guess that is where the gender bias has to be built. Fortunately, from my state, the Telugu-speaking states, I think we have one of the highest women getting into information technology, and maybe they should play a role on that.
Thank you, Mr. Khurshid.
Well, thank you very much. I think there are 3 reasons, men, and men. So if we don't get rid of us, but just help us educate ourselves, and attitudinal change is the biggest thing.
So.
I think in which a major role can be played by leadership coming from men and women alike. But it's important that these subjects remain upfront, that we talk about them as we have today, that we talk about them and ensure that what we say and what we talk gets implemented. That's the thing very important. So the answer is the right men, the right men, the right men. The problem is men, men, men. Thank you.
And so, like you said, men, and mentality. I think that's a big thing. One of them spoke about training to public servants on gender sensitivity. Unfortunately, there's no textbook in our schools. There are no textbooks which talk about respect towards women. Men are never taught that, and therefore I think it's a household issue. Like they say, charity begins at home. Little boys have to be taught that they have to respect their mothers, their sisters, their daughters. And I think that's where it begins. It begins at home, and for which a mental shift in the way they look at women is very important. So mentality is I think, very important. Till that changes, the violence, the domestic violence issues, and the way of looking at women will not change, and that's a challenge all countries face. How do we change mentalities of men towards women? So
make it womantality.
Yes, womantality. Let's take questions from the audience very briefly. Whoever would like to ask our esteemed panelists questions, we can hand over the mic to you and you can shoot your questions very quickly. Anybody? You can just stand up and maybe just raise your voice. If you can just mention your name and the panelists towards who you'd like to ask the question to.
Hi. I don't think that it's a question, it's more of a comment that I want to make.
Sure.
My name is Tikender. I was former mayor of Shimla. But currently, I'm assigned to write the urban policy for Kerala for 25 years. And since last 1.5 years, I'm there in Kerala. I think one element or area perhaps I missed is about engaging the women in the entire production process. And you know, how do we bring in the whole question of equality? Since there's an embargo, we've already submitted our report to the Kerala government. Else I would have gone in details explaining how we have imagined this whole question of women empowerment in the Kerala context while writing the urban policy. But let me just surprise this august audience that in Kerala, there are some 4.8 million Kudumshri women. And when I say Kudumshri women, they are in n number of processes of production, right from organic vegetables, the Kochi place you mentioned, the entire airport is being managed by them. So for us, it was important, how do we further enhance and visualize because we are imagining that 25 years down the line, the nature of work is going to completely change. And if this nature of work is going to completely change, it is going to change furthermore for the women. Now, how do we visualize, how do we enhance the production process so that women are made more participatory in that process? So one of the forms that we have considered and which we are recommending to the Kerala government is to further upskill. So not just the basic works, which Kudumshri is already there. I've said more than 4.8 million women members are part of that, but also to engage with this transition and transformation that is taking place. I think that is one of the areas that we need to take care of. And lastly, something that this is what Raju Sabai was discussing with Pallam Rajuji, is that what about young women? So there's some 25%, I do not know which country is practicing, but this is what we are recommending to the Kerala government, at least for the local bodies. 25% of the total seats would be reserved for people less than 30 years in the municipal corporations and in the municipal bodies, and out of which 50% ought to be women. I think that's all I would like to.
Thank you.
Ma'am, shall I put my... So my name is Arvind and I work on cities and...
Can you please mention who you would like to address your question to?
I would direct it to the women panelists, yeah? And anyone could pick that. So it's a comment as well as a question. So I work on cities and urban areas. And just to give an example, and not going far, so look at our cities, look at the city of Hyderabad or any city, Indian city for that matter. Women do not have access to working toilets right now. So this whole debate of, oh, how do we increase the worker participation ratio for women? How do we increase the labor participation ratio? I think has to be looked at from this lens that women are actually working a lot more than a lot of other population groups. So the whole of Indian agriculture is actually led by women workforce. A lot of urban workforce is not recognized as work, like domestic work, like home-based industries, like child care, like family care, so on and so forth. I can go on and give many examples. So we do not as a society even recognize women's work as work in the first place. So this is the second point that I wish to come to, is that now we are entering a paradox of women not, the problem is not having access to education. The problem now is that women are getting increasingly educated, yet the glass ceiling of sorts is not different, is very different from what it was 50 years ago. The glass ceiling, right now what I think, which separates us from a lot of Latin American countries and other examples, is caste, is a patriarchal culture and society that we have, and also strands of conservatism in our religion and culture, which is not being debated right now.
Oh, wait.
And how do we crack that? Because that will determine of how things change, and we can't wait 50 years
Sure.
for this again.
And this is what this discussion is about. How do we deal with those issues? How do we overcome those issues and move towards a progressive society that we used to be at one point in
I
time?
don't think
and
we
still
used to be
are.
that, but we have to be that. We never used to be. We need. Let's be clear with our understanding. Yeah. I love my country, I love people, but we can't make up. We
We're
can't
still
make up
the
stories
country
for the
that
past.
gave India its first woman prime minister.
Of course, but we can't make up our own imaginations also. Thank you.
Access to washrooms being a big challenge, actually, for a lot of women in the country. The lady in the blue shirt has.
Can I quickly?
No, she's been raising her hand for a while. If the mic can be handed over to her, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
First of all, my question is Zita Gurmai from Hungary, but I'm the president of the European Socialist Party Women Organization. First of all, thank you very much for the amazing host. What is the message that our host would like us to pass? And what is the message that you would like to keep us from us? And then, if I would have a wish from all of you, if we are organizing the world's biggest gathering of the progressive forces next time, when you have any picture, 50% men and 50% women, because I think it's important that women should be on the pictures as well. So this is really my wish. Empowering women is showing that women exist. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Khurshid? Sir? The mic.
Step towards it. I'm happy to share it with women of the world, and I think you deserve it.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is Professor Bangya Bukya from University of Hyderabad. I thank all the panelists for wonderful insights from your respective countries. Going by your presentations, it's largely about empowerment of women. Since you come from power group, you are in power, so obviously you speak about empowerment of the women. We do need empowerment of the women in all respects. But if you see, basically the women issues, what we come across at the grassroots level is domestic violence, violence in the streets, and underrepresentation of women in all bodies and employment. All these three issues are very much rooted in patriarchy. Okay, and again, patriarchy rooted further in religion. So my question to all the panelists is, what is your governments doing to at least weaken the patriarchy? Not even to destroy the patriarchy, but at least weaken the patriarchy. What are the programs you are actually implementing or thinking of towards weakening patriarchy in your respective countries? Thank you so much.
And would you like to?
Yes, thank you very much. Well, I think that both the question from Sita Gurmai about the messages and the last question, what we should do, is we as progressive, we need reforms. Attitudes is good, but nothing is as good as a good reform. As for example, if we want to change when it comes to violence, sexual violence against women, you need to have reforms like consensual law. We saw in Sweden that we have a consent before you're having sexual intercourse, and the woman has to say yes. Now we have an enormous increase in the proportion of prosecution leading to convictions for rape. And that means that you have a concrete law. The same times when it comes to the possibility for women to work, you need to have a law for equal pay, for not just equal work, but for work that is the same value. So it should not be more payment for a medical technician than for a midwife. Now a medical technician gets more money than a midwife. So it's not just for equal work, but for work of the same value. And finally, you need to ask for reform to be able to have both work and family. We saw that the attitudes changed, that yes, men could take care of family, but it didn't change in reality. So now we have introduced use it or lose it. And that means that you have parental leave for a year, but then you have 3 extra months for that the father needs to take, and 3 months the mother needs to take. If the father don't take it, the family lose it. And that means that you kind of have forced the men to be on parental leave because you don't want to lose it. So this kind of, yes, an attitude is good, but a big reform is better.
Thank you, Anne. The gentleman in the khaki jacket.
Good afternoon. My name is Dibyamani Raj Bhandari. I'm from Nepal. I have more comments because I'd like to go it in a different way. Well, when I was born, the first person I met was my mother. And I cried and I cried to my mother. Then among my siblings, it was my sisters who helped me the most when needed. When I was going for the schools and the colleges, most of my friends, they were girlfriends, and they were very kind to me. I got married. My best friend in my life is my wife, you see. Then, when I grew old, my daughters, my grandchildren, my granddaughters are more close to me than others. So we know the value of the women in our life. Similarly, being a Hindu, we learned a lot from Lord Saraswati. Then after being educated, we have to be self-reliant, so we started making money after learning from Lord Lakshmi. Then again, we needed power, we go to the politics, then we need the Durga. So what I request to all the panelists is, all the good part, what you learn from the different type of the women, should be kept in mind to make the policy for the future of the right for the women and the future of the women in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. This lady in the red sari, please. There's a request from the panelists that more women should get a chance to ask questions.
I am Dr. Vanamala. I am from Telangana. See, in a transient society, when transition is taking place, then the technology also changes. With the change in technology, woman is the first to get badly hurt and loses employment. And men still they don't get they get chances to work, women lose their work. How to stop this type of changes? Number 2, second question, anybody can answer my question. Second question is that last so many decades, we are experiencing that domestic burden and also care economy burden, both are not reduced at all, even 1%. How to stop it and change it?
Undram, would you like to take that question?
Okay. First of all, in the technological advanced era, for us it's very important to give education to our girls. As a woman, we also need to get educated in the technological sphere. For our age and above, we need to become very good users of advanced technology. But for the younger generation, they have to become, in the future, developers of programs and, innovation. So for that, we need to educate, give equal education opportunity for our girls. And also, a lot of people are saying how to change the mindset. I think changing human mindset is the most difficult thing. It has been, like this for thousands of years, so it's not going to be changed in one day or 1 year or 10 years. It will take time, but still we we should not give up. We have to go forward, talk to them. And the best thing is that if we raise our children, better than us, then they will, take forward all this perception on women. About domestic violence, it's one of the biggest challenges in the world women are facing right now. And I think every country should have law against domestic violence. And it has to be strict and it has to be enforced so that, once it has been, done, the next person will not do something like that at home. So that is one of the immediate things every country has to do. And maybe we can share our, what kind of laws we're developing in our countries and then maybe get the best resolution on that. So the first thing is law. The second thing is perception on women. Thank you.
Thank you, Undram. The lady in, ma'am?
Sorry, can I?
Okay, one of you. We just have time for 3 more questions now.
I just have one quick question and then can I pass the mic?
Sure, okay.
My question is actually to Madam Anne from Sweden. You made a very interesting remark about how foreign policy was gendered and then later on the trade policy was gendered. So I wanted to ask you, how can you do something like that? And how do you ensure that by saying something is gendered, it's not just limited to a budgeting exercise? So I would like you to just elaborate on that if it's possible. Yeah, that's it.
And I think she was asking you the question. Sorry, can you repeat your question for Anne, please?
Madam, you spoke about
that's not just
foreign policy and trade policy.
No, actually, we used a way of working that was called the 3 R's: representation, rights, and then resources. So everything we did was looking in this way. For example, when it comes to representation, is there equal representation on the boards, in the United Nations, in the parliament? Everything goes through resources. The second R are rights. When we have our meetings with foreign leaders or in different global multilateral meetings, what are the rights of the women? Has the women in this country the same rights when it comes to divorce, when it comes to earning money, when it comes to right to work, when it comes to sexual and reproductive rights? Is these rights seen in the final document that we are signing as foreign minister? And the third one is resources. For example, you think normally that you give the same resources to men and women. Then when you start counting on it, you don't do that. For example, you don't give, when you have development cooperation, development aid, when you look at it from a gender perspective, more of the resources are directed towards men than towards women. So these 3 R's are actually a very effective way not only to have it in budget, that you say, but also rights, resources, representation. It goes for all areas.
Thank you. Thank you, Anne.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Dudu Manuga from Nigeria. I'm the national women leader of the Labour Party in Nigeria. So I want to appreciate the panelists and everything you've shared with us today. It was interesting. I don't have a question. I just want to make a comment. It's interesting to see how a lot of the issues we have back in Nigeria are also the same issues in other countries. However, one thing that struck me is that while our spaces for women, especially women in politics, women in leadership in Nigeria, is shrinking, we're having less women in leadership positions. I'm seeing other countries upping the numbers, and that has got me thinking, because now the men, when you're in a public place, you start talking about gender issues, say, oh, we've had enough of that. We don't want to hear anymore. So we are having that problem, but it's interesting to see that other countries are making a lot of progress, and I am praying that we can also one day share a report that we're making great progress in Nigeria on upping the numbers. And I have just one request, please. I would like to request that the next conference, that we hear perspectives from Africa as well, because there are diversities. If you look at Rwanda, I mean, it's up there. And then you look at Nigeria, we're down there. So maybe when we hear about what's going on in these different countries from Africa, it will help all of us have that better perspective of the global nature of gender issues. Thank you very much.
That's very interesting. That's a great feedback, and we'll definitely work on it. And the fact that women are not, don't have enough political representation in Nigeria is definitely disturbing, and I just hope that you're able to get there soon. Thank you.
Good morning, or I should say good afternoon. My name is Tani Gili Kailani. I am from the Kurdistan region of Iraq. And the comment, I guess, or maybe it is a question to the Progressive Alliance in general, and that is to ensure that all sister parties must have a feminist agenda. It must be in our policies, it must be in the ways we actually put forward government policies and government programs when we hit these, when we are in government or when we have representations. So here I do ask, and I would like to hear from the participants, because they come from different parties and within the Progressive Alliance, what are your parties to do to ensure that we do have these feminist agendas and they're always on the top of the priority list for our parties? Thank you.
Hola. En mi caso, Partido Socialista de Argentina, tenemos paridad, es decir, igualdad de varones y mujeres en la conducción del Partido Socialista. La conducción de los partidos es en igualdad de varones y mujeres. Además, todas las políticas que se tomen tienen perspectiva de género, porque si bien somos más las mujeres que participamos, somos menos escuchadas. La mayoría de nuestros países tienen mujeres docentes, pero los sistemas educativos siguen siendo programados por hombres. Necesitamos que nuestra voz como mujeres para sistemas educativos en la igualdad sea escuchado. Queremos que todas las políticas de planificación de las ciudades, y actuamos en ese camino, tenga la voz de las mujeres. No nos movemos iguales en las ciudades, no vivimos igual la ciudad los varones que las mujeres. En mi partido promovemos que cada política pública tenga perspectiva de género, escuche la voz de las mujeres para tomar decisiones, no solo para escuchar, sino para tomar decisiones que contemplen las problemáticas y las miradas de las mujeres en cada uno de los hechos, en educación, en planificación de las ciudades, en la movilidad urbana, en cómo planificamos también los liderazgos y capacitar a las mujeres de nuestro partido. Tenemos una red de mujeres socialistas que se capacita para tener un liderazgo activo dentro de nuestro partido.
Thank you. Just last two questions very briefly, and then we're ending this panel discussion.
My name is Jhansi Reddy. I'm from VETA, founder of VETA Women Empowerment Telugu Association. I've been running this organization since 2018 in US, but we see all these problems internationally, not only just in one country, but this is 2024. Back in more than 50 years ago,
25.
We have Prime Minister of Sri Lanka and Prime Minister of India, but still, as a woman, we have still at the back step. Why? Because it's a male-dominating society, and also educating women is not, we already have an education independence and financial independence, but at the same time, all these women needs a counseling. It starts from home, from the parenting and siblings. And the woman gets married, it starts from the husband. And then when the kids grown up, it starts from the kids to motivate the woman and how to be stronger. We have already financial strength right now for every woman because they're already educated enough. But the only thing is, for mentally, emotionally, they're not strong. Why? Because society or at home, they've been pulling down. So for them to go through all this and come all these obstacles, they need a counseling from the beginning. And so with that counseling, because especially right now, Indian government is also offering a lot of schemes for women and a lot of small business loans without an interest, and they're making the women as a bus owners too. But at the same time, is the woman is in the front end? No. Still, the man is in the front end. But woman is still behind, but the man is running the show. So that has to go out, so where the woman can be in the front line. So that needs a counseling from the woman from the day one, saying, okay, it's okay to make a mistake, but we still have to go front and fight ourselves, not our brother or our father or our husband.
Yeah.
That's one thing. And the second thing is, we still have to tell the woman, give them the woman the psychological, emotional strength for them to go out in the face in the world, whether it's in India, whether it's in America or anywhere. Anywhere is the same problem. So that's why the counseling is going to help rather than giving the free scams, because a lot of these people, when they don't have a mental strength, they don't know how to go about it and get them used those schemes. So that's what my suggestion, based on that I see in US and in India, is the same problem. Thank you.
I think that's a very important point she made. Mental health for women and counseling and therapy for working women, I think, is a very important feedback. Last question, the woman in the white, the lady in the white scarf. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Rabia Hamid. I'm coming from Tanzania. I would like to take this opportunity as well to apologize because I was supposed to be one of the speakers. But I thought I could just contribute my share. Yes, I was supposed to be there. And I believe...
Rabia?
Yes, nice to meet you.
You were supposed to be here.
Yeah. Anyways.
We'll make sure your thoughts are represented in the next session.
Thank you. Anyways, I thought I should contribute something to this one. And I've heard my fellow sister from Nigeria speaking out about how different places are having different parameter of women representation challenge in the world, especially in Africa. I would like to say something, and I hope the audience will understand. Sometimes we have an issue on selection of the people who are representing a particular group, be it any vulnerable group, be it the disabled, be it the political personnel, be it the women. But there is a whole challenge of asking ourselves, have we selected the right candidates to represent a particular group? That should be put on board. We have, any group has a chance to appoint people who are going to represent the entire group behind them, and maybe they select out of some merits but not competence. That is a very big challenge. And when they're there, instead of raising voices, instead of advocating the right rationales to why they need more representation, they don't have the ability, they don't have the competence to explain why the group has to be represented even in a larger number. So I'm from Tanzania, and my party is the ruling party, Chama cha Mapinduzi, CCM. And we have a particular wing that has more than 6 million women. In the party, we have 3 wings. We have youth wing, we have elders wing, and we have women wing. Women wing contributes more number of members to the party than any other wing, including the youth wing.
Wow.
And to break the news, we have a female president, Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan. She has visited the world. I'm sure most of the countries represented here, yes. She has been to advocate the voice of every other parameter of country development and the women issue. And she has done it with a miraculous competition, and she has marked, just this February, she has earned the Global Award for Millennium Challenges of Achievement. So everything is represented to excellency, that the party, the country has decided that she again is going to be our presidential candidate for the next 5 years. And we're sure she's going to have the landslide win. The amount of progress in many parameters of the national progress has accelerated. So she was won 4 honorary doctorates around the world, including India, has awarded her an honorary doctorate. So let's see who are we taking forward for representation as well. And I think we really need to change culture from other delegates who say that we need to check how we raise our kids. It starts from there. They said that the children are the nation of tomorrow. Every other country has their own national culture and values. Where do they start from? They start from children, the way you're raising. There are countries that they don't trust anyone. If you check the record, they were taught to do so when they were children, that don't trust anybody. There are countries that behave however they behave. It's the values of their country. But there are countries that are never late, and there are countries that are always late. If you check the history, why is it happening? You'll know that it started from the childhood. So I think if we need to make changes, and it's the women that raise children, that raise families, that take care of nations, I think we need to check on the morals of that we induce our children on how to respect women. Most families, the sisters are not given a same chance, same priority. We don't trust the daughters, but we do trust the sons. Nowadays, there's this gender reveal parties. When they reveal a male child, when the gender reveal is a son, the celebration is different.
Yeah.
And when it is revealed a daughter, again, it's different. Like they will look at each other like, we're having a daughter. But then when it's a son, it's like, we're having a son. So the amount of trust that we put to our children is again different. If you have any small task to give to your child, who would you pick first? You'll pick your son to do it, and not your daughter. And if you are about to go out and leave the family behind, who would you call to leave the family to? You'll call the daughter. Please look after your brothers. Please look after the house. Yeah. Please look after this and that and that. But if you want them to go out and achieve something, you'll call the son. Go out there and make sure this is done. So we separate tasks from their childhood, that you're supposed to stay inside and you are a household taker. And the son is the national taker. So we really need to check our balances. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, those were some very good closing comments, Rabia, and your president continues to inspire women around the world. With that, we come to the end of this panel discussion. Very, very valuable inputs. I thank you immensely all from the bottom of my heart. A very, very fruitful panel discussion. Thank you, Mr. Khurshid and Mr. Raju, for being a part of this and giving hope to us women. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Undram. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Parnika. And thank you, Rabia, for being a part of this discussion. Hopefully, this discussion will have the desired impact that we wanted to have. With that, we come to the end of this. May I request all the panelists to now come together for a group photo. Can we now pose for a group photograph? Thank you. Thank you, the audience, and thank you for all your questions and your valuable inputs, and thank you for listening.